All right. What's going on, Scythe? Cat emojis hanging out in the box. Faye's just chilling on the floor right now. She's very hot. She's yelling at me to open up the window, but I don't want the rain to come in. So hopefully all is well. I saw the markers that you were showing off in chat. Those look pretty cool. Super excited to see how those turn out. I know. Well, honestly, I'm too jealous. I don't want her to get more famous. her social media would pop off, I think. But yeah, right now she's just chilling at the bottom of the window, hoping and wishing for it to stop raining so she can go in there. But right now she's just taking a nap. But yeah, maybe soon. Maybe if the people want it. Matt, what's going on? The rare sighting of the Matthew. So I guess another fun thing is, I don't know if you have a PSA membership, but the One Piece promos finally came out. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it feels super nice. It's definitely still raining a little bit. Well, actually, let's see. It actually might have stopped. It did stop. Oh, there you go. There you go. It just looked like it was still raining, but what I was saying is that the One Piece promo came out. Let me see. So it came in the PSA memberships, and it actually looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm not obviously like a big One Piece guy, but it looked pretty cool. Let's see if I focus. Can't really focus too well, but there we go. So that's pretty cool for the One Piece fans. It wasn't, from what I could tell, probably not gradable, but still pretty cool. It's cool that a card company, and it's weird because I would have thought that that Pokemon would have kind of jumped on that ship sooner, but One Piece was the first one to, no pun intended, jump ship on the PSA collab. I could imagine, Scythe, because all it was just put into the PSA magazine, and it just said "Do not bend" on the top. And sometimes when you have like those "Do not bend," sometimes they don't take that very seriously. So, but luckily mine came in it literally just came in like this. So it came in a semi-rigid, the PSA semi-rigid holder. And yeah, it seems like it's in good shape, not bent in half. So, but yeah, I have definitely heard horror stories already of those cards getting bent pretty aggressively. So I don't know. We'll see when everyone starts to get theirs, if mine was just an outlier or a bent card ended up being the outlier. So now I got to do my. It's nice because you guys get to see. I've been thinking, actually, Scythe, this is actually good that you're here, because I've been thinking about how I've been wanting to do the, like, kind of like the multi-stream, and right now they cannot figure out my problem, like, at all. So I think what I'm gonna ended up going to do is just kind of run two at the same time. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm getting TikTok Studio ready on the right side, and then just gonna have Streamlabs, but probably OBS on the left. I gotta reconfigure everything, which is gonna kind of be crappy, but it is what it is. But it's kind of cool because like the YouTube is more of like behind the scenes and kind of like chill a little bit in the beginning, and then have to get on my, you know, talk very fast. At the like when the TikTok has to kind of shift around. But anyway, let me know if my fan is too loud too. It shouldn't be. I have I had some mic filters put on, but but we shall see. All right, let's get this set up. But yeah, it's definitely a cool opportunity for the One Piece fans. And I think the other part of it too that's actually really interesting is I feel like most people are probably like, I mean, obviously I'm probably going to do it myself, is to try to sell that card to kind of recoup the annual fee of the Collectors Club membership. I'm pretty sure most people are going to do that, but it totally makes sense. All right. Hey, Wicked, how's it going? I am just about to get things ready on the TikTok side, and then we'll start to get right into some grade review. I was just talking about, I just received the Luffy from the PSA. I just show that off, so that's pretty cool. Do you see the new bundles on Pokemon Center? I did not. Let's take a look. Let's see. The bundles. It's gonna do view all, I guess. Pushing out old unsellable products with those $200 Eevee and Pikachu promos. Are they like on like a flash deal, or? Because I never go to Pokemon Center, but $200. Oh, with the are you talking about the Van Gogh ones? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it's pretty rare I actually go on here, but you can see under new releases. Let's take a look. Ah. Oh, I can see it. These ones probably what you're talking about. Would be my guess. These promos are $200. These are 200? Pokemon Together. Interesting. Oh yeah, I got some nice battle styles, it looks like. Look at that. Right, I'm pretty sure that's battle styles. League Battle Deck. Cool, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I see now. Oh yeah, that's so funny. It's like, oh yeah, here's some stuff we don't want, and then, oh, by the way, you have promos. That's crazy. That's so funny. Only got released in Europe. Interesting. Yeah, it's really weird sometimes, like the stuff that they list on this site. Like, 'cause sometimes they'll just like randomly rewave like sets and stuff. Because I heard like when Evolving Skies was like around, like a little bit more available, they would just like randomly drop like Elite Trainer boxes and stuff. Everyone's mad what they release more. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point, Pokemon just doesn't care. For certain promos and stuff, like, they just, like, will print that into the ground. They don't care anymore. Which is kind of, like, good on them, to be honest. But yeah, that is very interesting. All right, let's go live over on the talk. This is the only thing that's going to be very difficult is to shift back and forth, but we're gonna make it work. We are gonna make it work. Yeah, that is very funny though. That they just try to dump different sets with different promos just to entice people. And then we're gonna do that for that. And then we should be good to go. Got some cool stuff today. There was no, it was interesting, there was no subs today. No, sub submissions. Because normally, Poke's going hot, J-King. But yeah, I got some fun tools to try out today, which is gonna be pretty exciting. So I was testing them out a little bit beforehand, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so what is going on today, chat? We are both live on YouTube and TikTok today for episode 25, which is pretty crazy. I feel like I say that every time, but it still is worth always repeating. So, for those of you who are new here on the TikTok side and YouTube side, my name is Galaxia Gaming, and every Wednesday I do what's called grade review, where I review the community members' cards for free and provide both myself. I provide a overall grade assessment as well as chat over on TikTok. So how this works is completely free. Once you're in the Discord, you can submit your cards into the grade review channel, and every week we just kind of review, and then I give my opinion, chat gives their opinion on what we think the cards would get graded. So, Native, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. Yes, Native, this tag team is super nice. So yeah, so both on YouTube and TikTok, welcome. There's different experiences for different folks, so if you want to see a little bit more, I'm also live on my YouTube. But without further ado, we are going to get into the first submission, which was soft boiled. So how this works is we primarily just do assessments for PSA. So the four main grading criteria that we're looking for is centering, corners, edges, and surface. So for modern specifically, we tend to stick more so if it's going to be kind of like a 10 or bust, because it's assumed that modern is, it's going to be in pretty good shape. So we tend to go a little bit faster for modern, but it's okay. We still get the job done. So let us take a look. So first thing we want to look at is the centering. So centering looks pretty good. Can't complain there. Next, let's see. So for surface, and I get to use my new tool, and I get to see if it works, which is kind of cool. Let's see. So nice. So we got the tool. So the one thing that I want to focus on is that little speck right there. So if we can take like a microfiber cloth or something like that to improve the surface score, we can just wipe something off like that. So this is a really good example on, you know, doing something like that will drastically improve the surface score, which is right here if I kind of zoom in on it a little bit more. So if we can get rid of that, it'll definitely improve the score significantly. Just as an example. So if we flip it over, the centering looks pretty good. Corners look good. So yeah, I mean, this card is a pretty good 10 contender. I will say it looks pretty decent. Because again, the corners look good, edges look good on both the front and the back. I really think the only thing that we can do is just wipe whatever this is off the surface to improve that surface score a lot more. So kudos to you. This one's a pretty good, probably the first PSA 10 contender of the night as well. Unless, let's see, before I say that, I don't think that's anything. I think that's just how the picture was taken, but so yeah, let's move on to the next one. So that was actually Softboiled's last submission from last week. So thank you, Softboiled, for that one. So next up is BonQ, coming up with some vintage, some Japanese vintage. Manuel, thanks so much for the follow, and Trey, thanks so much for the follow over on TikTok. I appreciate that. How do I send your pics for you to see? Sure. So the one thing that if you guys are new and are interested in how to do this, so let me see if I can just do this, shift over. Cool. So right now, it's going to look a little bit different on the YouTube side versus the TikTok side, but that's okay. So basically, you just want to go to my website, which is galaxiagamingtcg.com. And in the lines in the top left, you just give that a click or tap, and you just tap the Discord icon. It will then redirect you to the Discord page, which will kind of look like this. Once you verify, you just scroll down to the grade review, and then you just submit your pictures all right there, and you just join the community. It's completely free service. And yeah, well, every Wednesday they get added to the queue, and we kind of just go from there. So that's how you do it. And if you want a video on actually how to do it, it's also pinned as well, called Grade Review and How To. So yeah. Eva, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get into the Pichu, shall we, chat? So let's see. Will that Hollow Bleed count off the PSA score? It shouldn't. It shouldn't, Safari, because it's not technically like a form of damage. Or, you know, because from based off of what I've seen when Hollow Bleed is brought up, it shouldn't take away from the surface, if that makes sense. Whereas like something that's off center, even though both are from like the factory, quote unquote, they shouldn't impact the overall surface of the card. Wicked, thanks so much for the corn. I appreciate that as always. So it is a little bit off center. So if we kind of take a look at the top left corner versus the top right, it's a little bit thicker on this left border than it is on that right. So the centering on the front is a little bit off, but not by too much. So as we kind of look across, we're looking for anything that stands out for surface scratches or anything like that. And so far, this Pichu is in really good shape aside from the centering. So let's flip it on over. And honestly, kind of the same thing on the back too. This Pichu is actually in pretty good shape for both the front and the back, which is really good. So yeah, I think really your biggest issue, and honestly, this might look like something, and I can use the new tool that I keep talking about. So the one thing that I am seeing possibly is this. So there's a little bit of a white dot right there where I just circled, which might impact that edge score if that is something on the card specifically. So if it is, then that's probably going to take a little bit off. But if it isn't, then we should be good. So so get rid of that. Yes, perfect. So I'd probably say just from the front alone, and probably that little bit of whitening where my mouse is, you're probably looking at an 8, unless there's something else that I'm not seeing based off of the picture. But an 8 sounds like a pretty realistic grade for this Pichu for sure. All right, so next up we have the Zapdos from 151. So again, for those of you who are new here, anytime I review Modern, it tends to go pretty quick, only because, you know, people really just kind of want a 10 or bust for Modern. So we don't really spend too much time on like things like Surface or anything like that. So Brian, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. What is Hollow Bleed? That's a good question. So unfortunately I already closed it out. Actually, let me see if I can get it again. But basically all Hollow Bleed is that when the top layer of the card that would be completely covering the hollow underneath, Hollow Bleed basically means that hollow underneath is prominent enough to where it's kind of like bleeding through that top layer. So you kind of see a little bit of hollow outside of the hollow like art box, if that makes sense. So when it's outside of where you would traditionally see hollow, that's called what's known as Hollow Bleed, if it's not intended to be there. So normally you see that in like the text box area of like a standard hollow. You see it a lot in Vintage, but you do see it in Modern too. But Vintage is a little bit easier to spot because most Vintage never had hollow on the text. So that's why I decided to kind of bring it up there. Okay, so Zapdos EX. So the centering on the front is actually pretty good. Corners are good. Let's see. Corners, edges look good on this one. So yeah, I think this one again. I think this one is probably a pretty close 10 contender as well. So we had 2 for the night, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. So let's see. Let's check out this Electrode. How do people send you these to look at? Yeah, so first, it is a completely free service. You don't have to pay. So probably the quick way is if you watch the video pinned on my TikTok called the thumbnail reads grade review and how to. It's about a 45-second video. If you just give that a watch, it should teach you how to join the Discord, what channel to post in, and the rules on how to post. For example, you know, we won't take what's it called? Things that are in sleeves or top loaders or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. Chicken Strip and Lewis, thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate that. And Lewis, before I forget, I didn't see any DM from you when you subbed last time. Again, I don't want to have you miss out on the perk of being a sub. So definitely reach out to me if you have some cards you want to get graded, so you have it expedited for next time. I just want to make sure that you don't miss that. All right, so yeah, of course. So corners. So first, let's look at the corners. So it is a little off center from the right to the left. And this might be a good example of weighing in for what you guys think. So with the new tool that I have, which is just a regular plugin. So I'm going to highlight some of the issues that I see, and hopefully I'm going to pop up my other chat here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm illustrating here. So we have a little bit of whitening in that bottom left-hand corner, which I just circled. Forgot my 3D printed Stratocaster. Oh, that's unfortunate. The service is coming very soon, Mike. Yeah, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that very much. All right, so we have the one circle in the bottom left. We also see here, by where that number is, it almost looks like there is some... I'm going to save this so I can just highlight this real quick. So it looks like there's some damage by that O in the number. So that's kind of what I'm highlighting there. Oh, nice, it's saved. This tool's so cool. But aside from that, there's nothing on the hollow that I'm concerned about. Maybe I'm actually going to take a look at the kind of like the bottom There might be something there. There meaning where I'm circling here, possibly. And of course, it's red. Let me just right here. But that might be, I'm not too sure. So we do have a little bit of damage so far. So we have at least 3 points of damage from what I could tell. So let's save that and then go back over. And here's where we're actually going to start seeing stuff. Austin, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see. So I'm going to just start highlighting some stuff. So that came from that one. So we have some white dings on that left side. We have some frayed corners on that bottom left. Have a little bit there. Have some there. There. A little bit here. We got one there. There. And a little bit right there. Yeah, right. Not, yeah. The back we have what? We just for corners and edges, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points of damage. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm just gonna call you Smile because that's what your name is. But and then something like this, when I'm about to highlight, like right here, this normally to me looks like something that we could probably clean with like a microfiber cloth or something like that. Inner red left towards the middle and above the O. I probably just highlighted it. You might have caught that. But that looks like something that can probably be wiped off with like a microfiber cloth or like a Q-tip and some distilled water, possibly. There. And also right here. So those might be able to get wiped away. Those two that I just had like a question mark next to. And you can also kind of see some... So if I save this real quick, yes, and then I'm going to just highlight a little bit closer. So right within the kind of the magnified area, you kind of see a lot of those surface scratches as well. So that's going to impact the surface score as well. JS, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. What are my credentials? So I'm not paid by like a grading company or anything like that. I've been submitting cards since 2017. One of the other things that I like to do is every submission that I do submit, I first determine what I think the card would get, and then when it comes back from PSA, I then kind of save that and basically give myself a grading batting average, if you want to think of it like that. And all I'm doing is I just kind of give my thoughts and just share my experiences. And we're also keeping a tally of those who go through the grade review process and those who decide to get their cards graded. They actually submit them back in the Discord and say, hey, like you guys thought it was going to be an 8. It did come back as an 8. So we've been also updating our accuracy there. So far we've been pretty good. There's been a few that have been like 1 above or 1 below. But for the most part, we've been collectively pretty accurate. So that's pretty much it. I'm not like paid by PSA or Beckett or CGC or anything like that. It's just based purely off of experience. I also do this as a side business as well. But it's totally free. I don't charge for a grade review unless you want it faster. Then you can sub and you can get it expedited because it is first come, first serve. But Bed, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Exactly, Snip. And because I think there's also people who kind of have a little bit of like grade submission anxiety, just because, you know, they don't want their cards damaged in the mail or to get lost or whatever, and or pay 15, 20 bucks, where this is just, you know, if you just simply want a second opinion, you know, I'm trying my best just to kind of highlight some of these issues like I'm seeing here. So I definitely appreciate the kind words for sure. Because again, completely free, unless you want to have it just be faster. There's subscriptions in the Discord. You can kind of jump ahead in addition to some other fun stuff, but that's not the point. So now that we had a chance to, and I'm gonna clear this. So now that we had a chance to see both the electrode, both on the front and the back, I'm actually over on TikTok. I'm actually going to start a poll. So this is the kind of the unique part of this whole process where now chat can now weigh in on what you guys think this card would get as a PSA grade. So there should have been a little blue clipboard that popped up in the top left-hand corner of your screen that you can now vote and weigh in on what you think this electrode would get as a PSA grade. So there's the front of the electrode and there's the back. Most of the damage is on the back, so I'll just kind of leave it on here just in case if you're kind of coming in. But yeah, there should be a little blue clipboard that popped up. I have a few people voting right now. We got some 8s, got some 5s and 4s, I have some 7 and 6s coming in. But yeah. Awesome, Crusher. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, Smile, if you just let me know what you're thinking, I'll keep yours in mind. Had an Aerodactyl from Sandstorm come back as a 5 in about the same condition. That makes sense. Sticky, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome in, welcome in. Wicked saying 6 or 7. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Of course, anytime. That's all good, Cole. You're not the first person I've heard say that, for sure. Eva, I have about 26, 27 cards. So normally it ends up being from 8 to 10. But if you're here long enough, you get to see that I kind of yap a lot. So so it might go a little bit further than that. Who knows? Would you say putting my cards in a brand new sleeve top loader before shipping to PSA is a good idea? As long as the sleeve is new, Smile. It just really depends. I am an excellent yapper. I'm a PSA 10 yapper for sure. Dang, Scythe. Yapia Gaming. That is actually insane. That is actually insane. Actually getting roasted by my own mods. That is insane. Okay. So you guys are thinking... So what I'm going to do is on the side, you can't see it quite yet, but on the side I'm going to have a little bit of a tracker here. So chat, thinking 7 to 6. So now where I go is, so what do I think? Save that there. So what do I think this electrode would get? So again, the big things that I saw right off the rip, centering's a little off. We saw damage there and there, so 2 points of damage, possibly a third right there by the chin, I guess. So as we go back, really here's most of the damage. So I think we had 9 total, so I'll circle those now. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Edge was a little rough, had some whitening there, a little bit of whitening there, and then the ones on the center of the cards that I just cycled can probably be wiped away, but as well as some surface abrasions in this general area. So I would say with the amount of whitening on the back, man, it's either a soft 6 or a hard 5 for me. But I think because of how good the front is, you might be lucky with the 6. But man, I just don't know, because those frayed edges on the bottom are pretty aggressive, honestly. So I think if you can get rid of some of the stuff on the front, or on the, I'm sorry, not on the front, on the back surface, you might be able to squeak away with a 6. But if you can't, just because of how frayed these bottom edges are, I'm more inclined to say honestly a 5, just in case, if you can't get rid of those. So let me just put this on screen real quick, and boom. So really quick. So chat was 7 or 6, and mine was a 5. You can see my chicken scratch on the electrode. So let's see. Eva, no, I probably wouldn't. Crusher, thanks so much for the follow, and Doc, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, so if you guys are curious before I go on to the next one, Matt, thanks so much for the follow. Lucas, what's the coolest card you have seen but was in horrible condition? I think it was, we actually did a review on it if you guys have been here for a while. I think it was probably the Gold Star Mudkip that someone bought from a bulk box for $1. I think that's the one. I forgot what episode that was, but it had like pen marks on it and everything, and he got it for $1. So that's probably my answer, Lucas, for sure. Icky, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So yeah, so for a quick, let me just kind of get my right scene correct. So if you guys are curious on how to join the Discord, it's going to probably look a little bit weird on YouTube, but you'll kind of have to walk with me here. So if you're on mobile, if you're trying to get on how to submit your cards for a free grade review, again, it's every Wednesday starting at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So you just go to my website, galaxiagamingtcg.com. So you'll see this. And then in the top left, you give that a click. And in the social section, which you see of these buttons on the bottom, you just click the Discord icon. And then you should get redirected to the Discord. And in the grade review channel, you just submit your cards here with both the front and the back. So here's some examples. Just make sure that you follow the pinned messages. So all of these are the instructions on how to properly submit your cards, because otherwise I won't be able to properly assess them on stream. So that is how you do it. Right, CJ. Ron, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get the next submission. So Bond, thank you for your 3. Appreciate that as always. Got some frequent flyers this time around. So let me just make sure I checked yours off. Got the Pichu, which was really good shape. You actually had some pretty good ones that were in 10s. Oh, we have some nice ones from Wicked. Got some really nice ones from Wicked. Beautiful. All right. So, boom. All right, so next up is Wicked submission. JJ, welcome. All right, so let me just get things organized here. Oh, one of my scenes. There we go. All right, so we got the Mewtwo EX. Really, really nice. Ben, thanks so much for the rose. I appreciate that very much. And Giant, thanks so much for liking the live. And if I missed anyone that's followed or shared or liked the live, I really do appreciate it. Again, I try to offer this as a free service for those just more of just informational, just kind of looking at some cool cards. So all the support really does mean a lot. I definitely appreciate it. Doctor and Jeffrey, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for the kind words. All right, so let us take a look. So the Mewtwo EX, probably my favorite Mewtwo artwork, to be honest. I really love like the old school CGI stuff. So the centering looks pretty decent. Doctor, thanks so much for the finger hearts. Appreciate that. Corners look good, edges look good. This looks like a really cool swirl on the bottom. And for those of you who are new here, I absolutely love swirl patterns on Vintage, so this bottom one's really cool looking. So let's see. Oh, Ben, thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate that. And the rose. Man, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Jeffrey. I think it's cool. You know, I really think that, you know, it honestly helps me too get just better at grading and looking at different cards and just kind of continuously practicing and sharing my experience with you guys. So I definitely appreciate it. So let's see. So the surface of this actually is really in good shape. So really the only thing, and I can kind of bust out the new tool that I'm introducing today, is we do see a little bit of scratching on this right side. So you can kind of see I'm kind of highlighting it in the in that green circle there, but oh, and using the emojis. Nice, Ben. Very nice. And just if you don't mind, if you are on Discord, just shoot me a DM, because subscribing on TikTok doesn't like directly give you the appropriate permissions or the appropriate roles on Discord, so you can submit in the right channel. So just please message me. And that goes for anyone that's subbed, just to make sure that I give you guys all the benefits that you deserve for subscribing. So I appreciate that. Mike, thanks so much for the follow. And sure, thanks so much for sharing. You guys are awesome, man. I really appreciate all the love. You guys are awesome. Okay. Anyway, so we got the one scratch that I've seen so far. But aside from that, I'm not really seeing too much. So far, so good on the front. So let's Let's hopefully, fingers crossed, chat, that the back looks equally as good, and not so much. Oh, man. All right, so let's take a look at the back. Where do we begin? Okay, so we can clearly see, you know, this whole top edge is in pretty rough shape. We got that whole left edge there, have some corner issues. You're just gonna see nothing but just green markings all over this card. We have this like really big scratch between these green lines on the front. We got a bunch of like what looks like dirt splatter inside of that circle. Most of the time you can clean this with like a microfiber cloth or a Q-tip and some distilled water. But you also have some on the M here as well. We have some white dots on that bottom right, have some edge wear on the bottom right as well. We have some whitening on that right edge. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough. This is looking pretty rough. I feel like I'm about to do like cosmetic surgery or something. but yeah. So we got some grading to do, chat. So we'll see. So I see some people voting in right now. So I just started a new poll over on TikTok. If you want to weigh in on what you think this Mewtwo EX would get. So there is the front of the Mewtwo, but most of the damage is on the back, and I'll kind of highlight this so you guys can have a little bit more informed decision. And I actually really like this new tool because I can kind of keep that up. So if you guys are joining in late, some of the stuff that I've noticed. So while you guys are voting again, it should be a little blue clipboard that popped up on your device if you want to weigh in. Yeah, it should be like a little blue clipboard, user 146. Gryo, if you didn't get a notification today, unfortunately, you are probably not going to be seen today because there was a few people above you, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Top left corner. Oh yeah, the whole edge and corner is just crazy. I'll even highlight it too. But yeah, this pretty much the whole outside of this card is pretty rough shape. Tempest, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. But yeah, this Mewtwo is definitely loved. What's the middle circle for? So there is some like dirt or like debris. I'll kind of use the magnifier tool instead. So right there, you can kind of see those little like black specks on the surface of the card. So hopefully you can probably see that a little bit better, Uncle, because you're probably not the only person that's wondering that too. Cole, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. But I'd say most of the time, if that is dirt or debris, you can probably just, you know, use a Q-tip, some distilled water, wipe that off. Shouldn't be too bad. Jeffrey, if you want to remind me after this Mewtwo, because you're probably not the only one wondering, I'll do a quick run through. Or if someone in chat, like a mod, or if a mod's in here, if you don't mind answering Jeff's question, I appreciate that too. The 2 in the Mewtwo is the grade I'm gonna get. No worries, Jeffrey. No worries at all. I'm glad to answer any questions you guys have. So, like they always say, there is no silly question. All right, so let us wrap up the poll here. So, most of you are... It's actually pretty close. So, the average is... So, the average chat grade... So, let me just make sure I get this over here. So, average chat grade is between... Chat grade is 5 to 4. So, I'm just jotting that over on my end. So, let's see. So, what do I think this Mewtwo EX would get? So, sadly, the front is really good. I shouldn't even say sadly. It's probably what's going to save this card the most is just the front. Because primarily the only thing that I see is just these little scratches on this right side. I'm sure there's more like on the actual hollow part, but it's nothing bad from what I can tell. However, when we flip it over, this is where we're really noticing. So a lot of the edges, a lot of the corners, there's some scratches here where I have the circle in the center of the card. There's almost like dirt spray or debris. So really when I get down to this at this point is if there's normally like a crease across the card or across the surface of the card, that makes it very easy for me to say a PSA 4. But from based off of just my experience with the damage that I'm seeing and some of the things that we can probably repair, and going back to the surface of the front, kind of saving from what, again, granted, what we can see on the front, I think the front is really saving this card overall. So I would probably say that this card would probably get a 5, in my opinion, which is really good because there are a lot of things that could probably go wrong with this card. But that's what I'm thinking. So chat gave it a 5 to 4, and I gave it a 5. Because that, again, that front is really kind of saving this card. And that nice swirl on the bottom. I think someone else just said it in chat, but a really nice swirl on that bottom, which is always nice. All right, so before I start off the Politoed, let's see. I'm just catching up with chat real quick, so just give me 1 second. Let's take a look. Charlie, if I missed you, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, so a few people have asked. Goose, thanks so much for the follow. Yeah, so a quick way is if you go into my TikTok videos, one of the first pinned videos has the thumbnail that says grade review and how to. It's about a 45-second video. You just give that a watch. It'll teach you how to join the Discord, what channel to submit your cards, and the most important one, I can't emphasize this enough, is the rules that you need to kind of abide by to submit your pictures. That kind of sounds harsh, but basically I just want you to not have the cards in top loaders or sleeves, because it makes it very difficult for us on stream to review the card, because we don't know if it's on the card or the sleeve or the top loader or whatever. So as long as you just do that, again, it's completely free. It is first come, first serve. But if you want your cards to be reviewed as like an expedited service, the Discord does offer a subscription where you get added to the expedited channels. You can also sub through TikTok. It's a little bit more difficult, to be honest. You just have to reach out to me through Discord because the bot doesn't really work that well. But yeah, that's how you do it. So yeah, I've graded card. I think about regrading. Oh, gotcha. The punch and run. Yeah, exactly. Amain and Richie, sorry. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. Yeah, and no, that's a good point from one of the moderators from Scythe. No graded cards in grade review either, because we've ran into a few times where I would try to review someone's pre-graded card, and we wouldn't know if it was scratched on the case or not. So it just makes it easier, because most people are just wondering, you know, what is this going to get graded? Pack fresh cards will normally get what? I mean, there's no guarantee, honestly, Spine. Some people are led to believe that if it comes fresh from a pack, that it will get a 10, but that is not the case. That is not the case. So I would say a safe rule of thumb, it can range from a 7 to a 10, if that. Because sometimes, you know, the pack gets bent or whatever, but 7 plus, like what Dream is saying, that's probably a good rule of thumb. So, cool. All right, so next up is the Politoed EX. So let us take a look at this really cool Politoed. No swirls from what I can tell. It's always unfortunate. Centering of this card's looking really good. Let's take a magnifier here. Corners look good, surface looks good. I think the only thing that I can kind of see, I'll leave it in the magnified tool here in a second, but we do see some scratching on the hollow pattern, which obviously is always unfortunate, but I kind of highlight with the tool. It is, if I use the right end of the pen, we're looking at around, no. Yes. So I am looking right about here. Is that there's a scratch just right there. But that's honestly all I see. So that's actually really good. So let's take a look at the back. So the back, So we do have what appears to be, and it might be, so I kind of see this from time to time just based off of some of the lighting that is being taken. This either might be lighting or slight whitening. I'm not too sure. So I'll kind of leave that as like a question mark. Steven, thanks so much for the bears. Thank you so much. And BS Wayne, thanks so much for the follow. Let's see. So we do have some whitening here, what it looks like. So let's see. And we do have some, it's not as bad, but just to kind of highlight, because it does look like there are some within this area here where I'm kind of hovering my little pointer here. Have one here. Got another one. So like 3 little dots on that bottom as well as the corner. And then I think for, honestly, like this right here and that, what I'm circling in orange, looks to be like little fuzzies that you can probably get rid of with just like a microfiber cloth would be my guess. So that's good. But yeah, all in all, it's really all I see. We'll save that. So bottom has white spots. Yep, I saw that, Rage. Okay, so let me start a new poll. So new poll should have started. It looks like a little blue clipboard if you want to vote on what you think it is over on TikTok. So here is the front of the Politoed. Again, really the only thing that I saw worth noting was probably this scratch right above the nose. But aside from that, the centering is actually really good on the front. It was more of the back, which are kind of highlighted with some of the illustrations that I've made already. So if you want to vote in to give chat's average grade, I'm going to catch up with chat. So is the card curved a little? It might just be how the picture was taken, Sparky. Sometimes it looks like that. If just based off of how some people take pictures and stuff. And another thing I will note too, if you guys want a different experience, I'm also streaming over on YouTube with the same name. If you want a little bit bigger experience, or if you just want your phone not to be hijacked, we do that as well. Do you also analyze graded cards for regrading? Patty, unfortunately, no. Not in the grade review. However, if you want to post it in one of our other channels, we have a media channel that people have been kind of doing that in. But again, just because it's hard for us to know if the scratches are on the case or not, and if you're not here, it just makes it pretty hard to review. Oh, and you guys might hear the rain. It's raining pretty hard by us. So if it gets louder, I'm probably gonna turn the window off, or turn the window off. My brain is fried. Yeah, it's tough. But I mean, I would definitely say, you know, if you want to post it in the media channel for sure. Can you zoom in on the front? Sure. Yeah, if you guys want to see anything else too, if you want to, you know, so here's the front. Here's that scratch right above where my mouse is. That's where I was really seeing it. It's getting pretty loud. I'm going to close the window, not turn off the window, to close the window. There we go. Lego, thanks so much for the follow. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, it makes it nice if you kind of want to just use this as like a second screen. What about bottom right of the pic? Bottom right, you kind of, yeah, I guess you can kind of see a little bit of some folding there, but you're definitely right. All right, so we actually have, so far, we just need one more vote to kind of swing it. Right now we're tied. I'm not going to try to swing the vote, but we're currently tied. So how do you grade based on the number of defects or different types? So Alan, if this is your first time, welcome. And this kind of goes for anyone else. You're going to see kind of the breakdown that we're about to give to kind of hopefully answer that question a little bit for you. Okay, so chat is thinking 7 to 6. So you can kind of even see a little sneak peek here on some of the imperfections that we caught. So let me have this over here. So chat grade. So chat was 7 through 6. So let's see what mine is. So let's save that to make sure I don't lose it. Okay. So what do I think this Politoed would get? So the centering looks good. The corners look good. The only thing that I saw on the front was just these little scratches above the nose. But that's about it for the front. The front actually is probably what's going to save this card the most. And so here, so this is what it looks like before I make some of the edits, but here's what it looks like, what I've highlighted on the back at least. So we do have some mild whitening on the edges. We do have some issues on that left edge mostly, and we have a few dots on the bottom center, as well as that bottom right corner. But I would say for the most part, really the only thing that kind of comes down to it is, would I think that this card is either light play? Because my rule of thumb is if I think a card's light play, I normally give it a PSA 6. And if I think it's obviously near mint, I'd probably say a PSA 7. I don't think it's near mint plus, which you're kind of getting into like the 8s and above. But I would say if these can be removed, because this one kind of looks like it can now that I kind of look at it, because it's kind of like just sitting there on the top. And we do have some mild whitening on that left edge, as well as where I kind of highlighted here. But aside from that, it looks actually pretty good. I'm thinking if you can get rid of some of these that I've circled here, and there are some other ones that I circled before, I think if you can get rid of those, you're probably looking at a 7. But if you can't, then, 7 to 6 actually is a pretty good assessment. But I feel like you can probably get rid of that bottom right one. So I don't know. I'd probably say there's, like, with the front, there might be something going on here. So I'd probably say if you can't get rid of that stuff, you're probably looking at a 6. But if you can, if there is some stuff that you can get rid of, you're probably looking at a 7. But I'd say just to be conservative, I'd probably say a 6. But so there you go. So chat is 7 or 6, and then mine, just to be more on the conservative side, is more of a 6. Hey AJ, how's it going? Grix, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, so centering is just the ratio of the left border to the right border. So it's nice. I can actually kind of highlight this real quick. So it's basically just the distance from here to here, as well as from here to here. So that needs to be as like 50-50 as possible. So that's what we talk about when we mention centering. Ooh, Sabrina's Gengar. Do you or have you worked for PSA or something similar? No, much. All I really do, honestly, is just anytime I make any PSA submissions, I basically do a grade review just like you're seeing on stream now. And I just think, if I'm going to submit this and I think it's going to be a 7 and it comes back as a 7, I just record that. So I just been doing that repetitively since like I forgot what I was like. I've been cleaning since 2017, but I've been probably grading since 2017, 2018. And I just been keeping almost like a batting average, just keeping on top of what I think it's going to get. Thump, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. OP, what about on the hollow top right back? I think I was highlighting that at towards the end. But yeah, I don't actually work for like a grading company or anything like that. But so for Sabrina's Gengar, again, I never want to assume that people know certain things, so I like to bring it up every now and again. So for Sabrina's Gengar, one of the big things to look out for if you ever see this in Japanese, was that this actually has an altered artwork. So the one in Japan, and you can kind of see it a little bit in the background. It's very, very hard to tell from this picture specifically, but this one was littered with tombstones. And when we came over to the States, they said, well, kids can't see what a tombstone is. They're too young or whatever. So they basically just washed out all the tombstones in the back. But Not the back of the card, top mid, top right. Gotcha. I'll try to pay attention more on that side, zombie. Okay, so let us take a look. This card, yeah, I love the Sabrina's Gengar. Definitely one of the big chases from Gym Heroes for sure. Okay, so corners look good, edges look good. And honestly, so this is probably one of the hardest cards to get as a 10. Because we almost have like what I kind of like to call like Pokemon to Holo ratio. So, you know, the Gengar is super small, but the Holo surrounding the Gengar, it just takes up so much surface area. So this card is prone and notorious to seeing things like print lines, scratches, stuff like that. So on the edges, let's see. That might just be like a camera, like a lens, not a lens flare, but like or some camera picture artifacting on that left side. I don't think that's whitening. The centering's good, corners are good. I just do see some scratches. I'll kind of keep my mouse still right where actually the swirl is. I didn't even see the swirl until I just left my mouse there. But above the spikes, above the Gengar, we are seeing some slight hollow scratching above, but not too bad. It could be a lot worse. It could definitely be a lot worse because like this whole surface, really not a lot of print lines, nothing to be concerned about too much. So let's flip it over. Gaff, thanks so much for the follow. But the back, wow, the back's actually in pretty good shape. Just based off of what we've been seeing, I was kind of a little hesitant. But so we see, are swirls intentional or just a perk? Lucas, they're actually, it's almost like a slight niche because it's basically just like a big hollow sheet that just gets randomly cut when the hollow is laid onto the card. So swirls, like myself, like there are people who just love collecting swirl pattern cards because of their placement. It adds a little bit of flair. It's basically like a niche within like the Pokemon collecting community. I would say another kind of like niche example are people who like to collect black labels from Beckett. So it's just like another collecting goal that kind of offers a little bit of a premium. So I personally love swirls. I can't get enough of them. So we do have a little bit of whitening possibly, and I think Wicked is in here, so you can kind of confirm this too. Looks like there might be a little bit of whitening in that top left corner. But aside from that, this bottom left corner is really good. That bottom right corner is good. We do have a little bit of lighting on that top right, so we can't really see too much of that corner, unfortunately. But I am, and I'll have to zoom in, I am seeing something right there that I just circled in the center of the card. Let's take a look, though. So right here by the K, right where like slightly to the left of my mouse, it does look like a little scratch. Also, specific sets are notorious for having imperfect cards and packs before you open them. Oh yeah, for sure, Zombie. Like Jungle and Fossil are notorious for that, especially for what's called silvering on the edges, because for context, like the blades were so dull because they just kept printing cards that it just kept getting duller and duller and duller to where they just didn't want to replace them. So it kind of chipped the front yellow edge off where you could see the silver hollow underneath, which was called silvering. So let's see. I just saw Wicked respond. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Just might be lighting. Okay. Cool. All right. So this actually is going to be probably pretty close. Because this card, out of the ones you've submitted so far, Wicked, this one's probably going to be your best contender to submit. So let's help them out, chat. So there should be a poll on TikTok that just popped up. Again, it looks like a little blue clipboard. If you want to weigh in on what you think it is for a grade, again, the winning poll will be the chat average, and I'll also look at the YouTube side too, if anyone wants to weigh in on there, because obviously I'm not going to have you jump around. Joey and RTE, thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate that. So while you guys are voting over on TikTok, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. I've got a misprint Cubone that's super miscut. That's awesome. It's funny you say that. I actually just gave AJ. He was lucky enough to win. I had a PSA 8 OC grade of a first edition Jigglypuff. But yeah, like what you just said, Zombie, there's a lot of people, or not a lot of people, a lot of cards from Jungle that were like wildly miscut. I missed the breakdown. Yeah, for sure. So Cody, basically what I saw on the front, the centering was really good. The only thing that I primarily saw was some light scratching above the spikes of the Gengar, but that's really impressive, seeing as though the left isn't really damaged in any way, and the centering's really good. And then here are some of the, you can kind of see in green, I highlighted some of the things I saw, and it's not a lot, which is really good. So there's a slight scratch in the circle in the center, and then some whitening on that top left. So that's pretty much the recap. That's awesome, AJ. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool, unique card, and we talk about centering all the time, so I just thought it was fitting to give it away for a grade review. Looks a little bottom heavy. It might just be because it honestly might just be how the picture was taken. Cody. Ryan, thank you for the sneaky gnome and the roses. I appreciate that. As you guys have probably been seeing a lot of those gnome memes going around with people. It's been pretty nuts. It's just been running rampant on my For You page. I hate this photo, both. Right. All right, so let's see what you guys are thinking. So chat is thinking 9. Okay. So we got to take this one seriously, chat. Because a 9 for a Gengar, a Sabrina's Gengar, probably the chase of gym heroes, is pretty impressive. Also at the bottom there are 2 black dashes, one on each side above the silver. At the bottom there are 2 black dashes, one on each side above the silver. Sorry, I gotta read that one more time. Also at the bottom there are 2 black dashes on each side above the silver. Oh, I'm with the knights for sure, Lucas. I'm not with the gnomes. I am knight all the way. Okay, so what do so I have that saved over here. Let me just make sure that that's true. So what am I thinking this Sabrina's Gengar would get? So the centering of this card is really good. Corners are good. Edges are good on the front. We do see some mild scratching again above the spikes of the Gengar. Yeah, Zombie, if you're in Discord, or if you've joined the Discord, which is also in the description of the YouTube side of things, if you want to take a screenshot of this Sabrina's Gengar, I'd love to see what you're talking about. I just always feel bad for not, because it's really hard to articulate where you're seeing stuff. And there it is. There's the tiny Diny. I've notorious. Welcome in, Poke. How's it going, man? Hopefully the chickens have made to rest. Posted it in the media. Okay, let me check that real quick, because that might be helpful. Let's see. Oh wow. Well, there's your wild Cubone. Okay. So I think with the scratching on the back. Oh, sorry, 1 sec. Gotta save that. Boom. So I think with the scratching a little bit on that K, and then a little bit of the whitening on the corner. So yeah, we're really even thinking either a 9 or an 8. I think with some of that mild scratching on the front of the hollow, and a little bit of corner whitening on there, and then some scratches on the surface, like, but very mild, really it just becomes like, is that mint or not? And the other thing too, and I don't know, Wicked, you're in here too, is that anything right there on that top? Or is that just like is that like a lighting issue? I don't really know. If that's not a lighting issue, that's definitely an 8 for sure, but Yeah, I hear you, Lucas. This card in a 9 is sick. You guys are thinking lighting too. Yeah, it's really close, chat. I'd say just because of the scratching on the front, this kind of leads me to believe that there's probably something else that we might not be able to see. And like when I do grade reviews, because of that fact, right? Because normally we only see like one picture of the front and one picture on the back. So I tend to lean a little bit more conservative because I don't want to like lead anyone astray because of that fact. But I think because of the scratching that I can see on that top part and the whitening on the top left and a little bit of scratching on the K, I would probably give this an 8 to be more on the conservative side. Would be my guess. So let me just drag it over. So yeah, so chat's thinking 9, which is totally fair. It's real, honestly, it's super close. This would be one that I'd hope you submit just so that we can, at least for me, just improve. But chat's thinking 9, but I'm thinking 8 would be my guess. Send a bribe, right? Oh yeah, Blaine's Arcanine's sick. Daniel, thanks so much for sharing the live. And if anyone has you know, followed, shared, or liked the live that I've missed, first I apologize, but I definitely appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving me when I've been doing this stuff. You know, it really does mean a lot to me that you guys like this style of content. You know, I really enjoy giving back to the community as much as I can. Again, this is a completely free service. If you guys want to know how to submit your cards for grade review, all you have to do is let me switch scenes. It's gonna look a little weird for those who are watching on the YouTube, but it's okay. So how to go? So if you go to my website, which is just galaxiagamingtcg.com, if you hit the top left, if you're on mobile, you click that, and then if you see the Discord icon, you just tap that, and it will redirect you over to the Discord. And so once you join, once you verify and join in the grade review, you submit your cards here. You kind of see some. You see AJ's right there. You see Winters here. And so you just submit your cards, both front and back. The big thing that I cannot emphasize enough is make sure you look at the pinned messages, because these are all the, you know, like where you're at in the queue, what are the requirements, like you can't have pictures and sleeves, stuff like that. So that's how you join the Discord and submit. Again, it's a completely free service. However, if you want it expedited, because it is first come, first serve, the server does offer subscriptions as well. So we got some of these too to get expedited grade review. But that's it. That's the spiel. But overall, it is free. It's not paid. AJ, thanks so much for sharing the live. I appreciate that. I recently sold my Blaine's Arcanine and Sabrina's Gengar. Gray looking. Oh yeah, they're awesome, CJ. Zombie. I also got a full card Hollow Bleed Suicune from Lost Thunder. That's cool. That's super sick. No, you actually are probably just in time, or about to be, because I just finished Wicked's. So next we have a few 1 and 2 submissions. So let me just hit those real quick. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to show off. So it looked like Zombie over on YouTube actually just shared a extremely miscut Cubone. That's really cool. You even see the alignment dots on the bottom. And it looks like it was connected to a Pokeball. So that's really cool. So Zombie, thanks for sharing that. So let me see who was next. So it was Death's Deliverer is up next. What a name. So let's take a look. We got the flaming lizard himself. The Charizard. Sure, go for it. All right. Hey bro, how much would that Gengar you just had go up for? So one thing I will say is that all the cards that you're seeing so far have not been mine. But if you're wondering, you know, how much would that card specifically go for? So we just assessed, so chat assessed it as a 9, and then I assessed it as an 8. So if you want the raw, like you probably should like just near mint market price on TCG Player. But I just don't know what it is on the top of my head, honestly. It's all good, Zombie. So unfortunately, I don't know on the top of my head, but if you want either the graded or the raw, those are the two places I always look. Yeah, of course, anytime. The most underrated card here, the Charizard. Yeah, the Charizard definitely doesn't get a lot of love. Definitely doesn't get a lot of love. It's like it's an underrated Pokemon. You open it like that? That's cool. All right, so let's get after it. I don't know if it's just the angle. I think it is because it's a little bit bowed. So you can kind of tell on the bottom here, it's a little bit bowed because of that shadow. But it does look a little off center from the left to the right though. But aside from that, the front's actually in pretty good shape. We are seeing some scratches here, and I'll kind of highlight that just in case if you guys can't see it on stream. So what I'm about to circle, at least on the front of the card. So right in here are some scratches on the top and the bottom. So camera 4 out of 10. Bottom heavy. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be bottom heavy, but it also just might be the camera. I'm not too sure. But aside from those 2 scratches that I'm kind of like, or the scratches that I'm kind of circling here, it actually looks in pretty good shape. Under Charizard's belly. Let's take a look. Save that real quick. Under Charizard's belly. I'm not seeing anything. Oh yeah, Charizard's a thick boy. The 2-hundo. The 5'7" 2-hundo. Yeah, really the only thing I'm seeing so far is just those scratches over there, but let's flip it over. So the back is unfortunately where we're going to probably see most of these issues. So let's start highlighting. So we have some, so these kind of look like scuff marks where I'm kind of circling here. Actually, that's not very good. So right here kind of looks like some scuff marks. Goes to its toe, or is that just the card? I think that might just be the card, Zombie. Hey, Pink, how's it going? Thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you. And Jay Seals, thanks so much for the follow. Thanks for the support, guys. He's talking about the tail. Let's see. The tail. Let's see if you guys see something and I don't. Which happens a lot. Let's see. Because you guys, your eyes are probably better than mine at this point. I'm passing the torch onto you, chat. Yeah, I don't see anything. Might just be blind, though. Okay. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So we had some scuffs there, have some here. But those edges look really, really good. A little bit of whitening there. Let's see. A little bit of whitening on that bottom right. We do have some slight scuffs there. Have a whitened edge there. It almost looks like here too, from like here to about here. We have some issues possibly. Like in that range, some whitening, but... Oh, thanks for the heart, Pink. Appreciate that. How do we get on the show? I'll let you know in a second, Joey. Is there any way to fix little nicks on the corners of the cards? Sometimes, Poppy. Sometimes if you put them in like a humidor and try to work the bend out, that's probably the best way, to be honest. But I haven't made a video on that quite yet, but there are a ton of a good example for the humidor technique specifically is Kurt's Card Care. He has some really good ones out there I will advocate for. So yeah, so those are some of the issues that I'm seeing. So let me start a poll over on TikTok for you guys. So if you want to vote on what you think this Zard would get, so that blue clipboard should have popped up on your phone or on your device if you want to weigh in on what you think this Charizard would get. So here's the front. Really the only things that we saw on the front, aside from some centering issues from the left and right, and that's from the back of the card, is just these scratches within where it's currently magnified. So there's the front, and you guys were saying something about the belly, and I couldn't see anything with like near the tail or near the belly. So unfortunately, I can't really highlight on that, but some of you are seeing something. I might just not be seeing it. But the back, where you're kind of seeing some of those highlighted. So most of the stuff that's circled are more just surface issues more than anything. But the corners appear to be whitened a little bit. So as you guys are voting over on TikTok, I'm going to catch up with you guys on chat. And Joey, if you're still here, if you want to remind me once we're done with the Charizard, I'll show you how to submit your cards for grade review. Because I see a few people asking. So just when I'm done with the Charizard, definitely someone remind me and I'll let you guys know how to do it. Awesome, Poppy. It's between legs, underbelly. It's between legs, underbelly. I'm probably making the goofiest face on YouTube right now. Because I'm trying so hard to find it. Maybe like where the tip of my mouse is, if that's what you're talking about. But I think it's just a shadow. I don't know. Oh, maybe I'm just going crazy. Yeah, some people are saying shadow. Back bottom left skinny. Yeah, it could be. It could be the centering on the left side compared to the right. Is that what you're talking about? MM? I think they're talking about that white line. Like, right. I feel like we're going to focus more on this, like, this? I don't know. I give up, chat. if someone wants to clip it and, like, highlight it and zoom in as close as you can. But yeah, I think this right here, if that's what we're talking about, I think that's part of the border of like the black part of the tail. I don't think that's like a scratch. But we solved the mystery, chat. We finally did it. True North Star, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so let's end it there. So chat is thinking 7 to 6. So let me just have boom. So chat 7 to 6. All right. So what do I think? Save that just in case. So what do I think this Zard would get? So I do think that the centering from the left to the right is a little bit thicker. The corners look good and the edges look good. So from the front, the only scratches that I see, and we finally solved the mystery that you guys have been trying to help me solve, is these scratches right here are very mild, which is really good. So we do have within this little like zoomed in part, we have 1, 2, 3 scratches there. But this is where a lot of us were kind of looking at. And this, I believe, is just part of the border or the outline of the tail as it kind of goes into the shadow. So I don't think that's anything. But the remaining parts of the card are in really good shape. Just the centering is really the main issue. And as I kind of flip it over and we're kind of highlighting it here, here are some of the things that I was noticing. We have some surface issues on the top left portion, and we have maybe some whitening on the bottom left and bottom right corners. And I have on this right edge, I have it more of as a question mark than anything, but those might be some whitened edges, but I'm not too sure. And then as we go up to the top right, we do have some mild scuffing out there and then a little bit of whitening on that top left. But as I remove some of these, and I'm just going to save this real quick. So as I remove some of these and kind of look at it at face value, I would probably say, you know, because we're like the 7 or 6 is pretty close. Like the only thing that I would honestly want to submit this card just for more exposure is the amount of surface wear near this left side. So like if I could just kind of leave it right there, that's a lot of surface issue. And I really wouldn't see that a lot on, you know, on a near mint card. So I don't really know. This one would be a really tough call for me to determine whether or not PSA would consider this stuff enough, like aggressive enough to be a 6 or not, in addition to some other stuff that we probably can't see. But the front is in really good shape aside from the centering, but I think with the centering and some of those scratches on the front and the amount of surface like abrasions, I would probably give it a 6 would be my guess. I think that's a pretty safe guess. Like some people might say it's a little bit aggressive. But I just think with all the surface wear, I personally have never submitted a card with that much surface like abrasions before, to be honest with you. So this one as a good example, just to kind of keep the transparency, this one would be one that I would probably submit just to kind of improve on how harsh they grade or review those surface abrasions. So that'd probably be my guess. Kristen, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So that was Deliverer. Thank you, Deliverer, for that submission. That was actually a really good one. There's a lot to unpack there. And if you guys are wondering, as I think a few people were wondering, so if you want to know how to submit your cards for a free grade review, I'm going to show you real quick. Let me just switch some scenes around real quick. It's going to look a little bit weird on the YouTube side of things because I'm also streaming over on YouTube as well, if you want a different experience. But this is the mobile version. So if you're on mobile, just go to my website, galaxiagamingtcg.com. And in the top left-hand corner, there's some bars. You tap that, and then you should see a Discord icon. So you just give that a tap, and then it'll redirect you over to the Galaxy Gaming Outpost server. So once you verify, you just simply go down to the grade review section, and here is where you'll submit your cards for grade review. So it basically goes from the top down. So we just reviewed Deliverer, for example. This is the card we just reviewed. So yeah, it's completely free, but it is first come, first serve. However, if you do want your cards expedited a lot faster, like if you have grades coming up or you just want them to be reviewed sooner rather than later, there's also the server shop. We also have some subscriptions here that will give you into the right channels and give you expedited grading, like the cadet grading as an example. So this is just one of the few people who have expedited, and we have some grilled cheese popping up. So yeah, that's how you do it. So let me shift over to this. Vince, thanks so much for the follow. Surge, right? Always the PSA 10 for the Zard. Do more rare cards like the Charizard the first edition get graded more in depth than just normal regular cards? Blake, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Let's see. So I would say, I think most people think that there are like some pop control or some level of, grading bias with certain cards. I just think, I really don't want to kind of get down like a conspiracy rabbit hole, but I will say, that the more you submit and the more you learn, like if you do submit a card and you really think it was supposed to get like an 8 or a 9 or whatever, and you've done your due diligence, like if you don't get that, or if it's like wildly inaccurate, then you can start questioning like, okay, how accurate was their grade or whatever. So some people will tell you yes, some people will tell you no. So it's kind of hard, but I would say just to not confuse yourself, just assume that as long as you know what you're looking for and you watch enough of these streams and just kind of like improve your skills and just continue to learn and just honestly just like practice grading and assessing cards yourself, you'll kind of get a better idea and have more realistic expectations. I think that's what happens most of the time, is that there are some people who may not have like the most correct set of expectations when they submit their cards. Like if, because a lot of streamers, especially when a card gets opened up out of a pack, they think, oh, like, here's the PSA 10 values, like will always be whatever. And, just because a card comes out of a pack doesn't mean it guarantees a 10. So there's like, that's kind of just a loose example, but as Dreamscythe said, I am turning into Yapia Gaming, so I gotta hone in a little bit. But that's my very long-winded answer to your question, Lucas. Hopefully I answered that for you. Will you consider submitting to BGS to see the subcategories? I might someday. There's a card that's notorious on stream for the Erica's Ivysaur that I've regraded a few times because it keeps coming back a 3. So maybe I might, just to kind of experience what the experience of submitting to BGS is. That might be a good idea, actually. Just to kind of get that experience, Rock. All right, so next up, we have Rose. So I got that card in like my 50th pack. Oh, ooh. All right, so as we normally do for Modern, we tend to go fairly quick because in most cases for Modern, especially how prices are, oh, nice, Zombie. Thank you so much for letting me know. I'll definitely take a look when I have a pause. I'll definitely take a look. I just want to make sure I get through everyone. But thank you for doing that. So with this card specifically, so Modern cards, we tend to really look for two main things: is centering and corner dings. Those are like the big two that kind of set it back from getting a 10. So for this one, this teal mask, for example, excuse me, we can kind of see, and I can probably highlight it a little bit better with the new pen tool that we got going on. So the big thing that kind of stands out to me is that this left or this right side is a little bit thicker than that left. So from what I can tell, it's a little right to left heavy. So I think with that, you probably wouldn't get the 10 because of that. Because again, the surface is most likely good. And the centering on the back is pretty good. I would say, like, if you were to get a 9, I wouldn't be surprised because the centering from the right to the left is a little bit thick. So that'd be my guess for that. And then for the Ericas, the centering looks to be pretty decent. Just really trying to take a look here. This one might be good, unless this is, let's see, is that whitening? That might just be a piece of fuzz though, right where the tip of my mouse is. But that might just be whitening that you can just wipe away with just like a microfiber cloth or something like that. So this one might be a good 10 contender. I really like this card. But yeah, this one might be a pretty solid pick to submit if it were me. So yeah, that one's a really good looking card. All right, thank you, Rose, for your submission. And I think we actually have 2 more from Deliverer. So this one is going to be interesting. So this one, we kind of have a little bit of due diligence because when they submitted the Venusaur and the Poliwrath, they said, honestly, think these might get a PSA 10. So we will see, chat. We'll see if the Venusaur and the Poliwrath are good candidates for the 10. So let's do our best to see here. So let's zoom in just a tad. Let me make sure that I have the right scenes up. I do? Okay, perfect. All right, so let me just zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. That should be good right there. Okay. Polly's back. Already saw a Nick top right. Okay. That's not good. Okay. So the Venusaur. So the centering from this angle looks to be good. There is a little bit of a curve here. It might just be how the picture was taken or what, but I'm not too sure. Looks left and bottom heavy a little. It might be, but again, I just think because like it almost looks like there's a little bit of a curve. It might just be that there is a little bit of a bend. And then the only thing that I can, let's see. I don't know, because it is being taken, the picture is being taken on a carpet. Like that might, excuse me, that might either be whitening or just some of the hairs from the carpet kind of overlapping the card. So we have like one right there, possibly. And then probably another hair right there on the top. Bend does not impact the grade though. No, you can, that's something you can easily just flatten out, Rock. I normally don't worry about it because like that's more of just like it's just been humid or whatever. Normally you can just kind of put that like you would like a leaf, just put it in between some heavy books or something like that. And in most cases you should be fine. But the centering does look pretty good. It's really just like these little like weird hairs. I don't know if those are hairs from the carpet or whitening. This one I would say, you know, if those aren't the case, like if those are just hairs that can just be removed, or those corners aren't actually whitening, it's just something from the carpet or whatever. This one actually has a pretty good shot at it. I looked at that one earlier and I'm stumped. The biology book definitely comes in clutch. I looked at that one earlier, I'm stumped. Yeah, that's really the only thing I can think of. Is like those little three, I guess like the 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe on the top only. But that's really all that's all I can see. And I honestly don't see any scratches on the Venusaur. I don't see any silvering, which was notorious for base set unlimited, as well as jungle and fossil. So this one might be a good contender. But I would just check the back of that the top part of the back. Now the Poliwrath, however, let's take a look at the Poliwrath. Some people were saying that they saw some whitening on the back. I think not Lewis did. Monty, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, let's take a look. Centering looks good. I don't see any scratches on the hollow, which is really good. Centering looks decent. And yeah, I think I actually see what you're talking about, Lewis. I think... So we have a few things that I don't know if that can be removed or what, but this might be whitening there. And then based off the picture, this might be a surface scuff, but within that circle. There might be something here within that circle, but that might just be a piece of dust that you can probably remove, would be my guess. But aside from that, though, maybe here within that circle, but I'm not too sure. But I think like if those are accurate, the spots that I just circled, you probably won't get the 10. Like it's still a really good condition card, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it would get the 10, in my honest opinion. Unless those aren't anything and they're just like camera illusions or something like that, because the centering is really good. The centering both on the front and the back are really good. But those are my thoughts. All right. Next up, we have Nugget. But thank you to Deliverer for those submissions. All right, got some more modern. Got some Iono. Ooh, we got some Master Ball stuff. Always a fan favorite. So let's take a look. The Iono. Greg, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Oh, this is you. Nice. Awesome. All right, let's take a look at the Iono. Again, if anyone has any questions on how to submit your cards for grade review, just let me know in chat. And look at that, Keegan just beat me to it. So the best way to do it is if you're on TikTok specifically, if you go to my pinned video, or in my pinned videos, there's a thumbnail that reads grade review and how to. So you just give that a watch. It's about a 45-second video. It'll teach you how to join the Discord, what channel to submit in, which is just grade review, and then the rules on how to submit. I can't emphasize that enough. It's completely free, but it is first come, first serve. But if you want your review expedited, there is a subscription or server perks that you can subscribe to that gives you expedited grade review along with entries to higher giveaways and some other future stuff that I have planned. So that's how you give it a shot. And that's how you submit. Oh, you pulled Carmine? Nice. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's sick. Definitely show it off in the Discord. Love to see it. Just to show it. Yeah, just to brag about it. All right. So Centering of this Iono looks pretty good. So let's flip it over. And unfortunately, you're probably not going to get the 10. So again, this is a really good example, guys, on if you're ever wondering if a card, if it comes from a pack, will it get the 10? And this is an example on how that is not true. So, right, so you see the centering looks good, but as we look at the corners, yeah, and I know you know this, but there are some people who just don't think that this is true. So we have these two corners in the bottom left and the bottom right. So again, just because a card comes from a pack does not guarantee it to be a 10. And this is just a, you know, this is just a basic example. You know, I'm never gonna, for me personally, I'll never tell you like that's not the case, but it is what it is. It happens. But yeah, that's just an example of that not being true. All right, so you're saying that this one is pretty much the Pikachu that you're worried about. Will you be attending Collecticon in August? No, but I do plan on having going to a lot more in 2025, including some Kineticons. So it's more because I have some Kineticon circuits, some vendor circuits I'm doing in New York this year, but I'm hoping to expand outside of the state next year. All right, so if you're on YouTube, you can kind of see the ruler. So this is literally the ruler I use. If you're over on YouTube. So it's literally just a transparent ruler I put up against the monitor. So the left side is measuring about 1/4 inch and the right side's also 1/4 inch. So it does look like it's centered well from left to right. Hunter, thanks so much for the follow. And let's see, I don't see any scratches or anything like that on the front of the Master Ball. And I don't see any corner dings on the back either, and it looks to be well centered. So I think you have a pretty good shot with this Pikachu. Because it looks well, unless there's some print line that I don't see, because I really don't see any on this hollow part. I think this is a pretty good shot. I would submit this if I were you. Hunter and Jonathan, thanks so much for the follows, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think this one, I think if it were me, I would submit this. You know, it's a pretty strong candidate for sure. Erica's invitation, well centered. I don't know if this is a hair or part of the, because I don't own this card specifically, but I don't know if that's like a hair on the back of her head or a scratch. I really have no idea. Josh, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I have the same card with a print line. Gotcha. Yeah, this one's kind of the suffering the same fate as the Iono. We got the whitening there and a little bit, and that. Let me just kind of zoom out here a little bit. So we have some whitening there and a little bit there. So yeah, I would say out of the three, I think Pikachu is probably your best bet in terms of getting it as a 10. But yeah, definitely, if you submit that Pikachu, I'd definitely like to see what it comes back as. Live vicariously through you. All right, so thank you, Nugget, again for your submission. So next up, we have Winters with some first edition Shadowless stuff. That's really cool. Yes, the first editions. Awesome. Yeah, super looking forward to it. Super looking forward to it. All right, so some first edition. The old school Shadowless. All right, so centering of this card looks good. We do have some surface issues, however, which I think is to be expected. Yeah, it's all good, CJ. So let's see. So, and the crazy thing is I have to see whether or not some of this is on my monitor or on the card. Okay. So this looks like, for example, this on that bottom left looks like you can probably get that cleaned off with like a Q-tip and some distilled water or something like that. So I'm not too worried about that, but you can probably get that cleaned off. We do have a pretty nasty line here. That silver scratch across the retreat cost. And then we just kind of see some like random little dings here, and I'm just going to kind of circle some of these. We have some like right in there. We have some edge dings there. But from this angle, it's weird because on this angle, we have a pretty clean surface from what it looks like. But that's about it. So we flip it over. Yeah, we're obviously going to have a lot of major issues here. Let's see. Yeah, because we have like all right here. Possibly the same on that left side too. I know we have one right there. Pretty much all right here. I can't see that right side. We do have a little bit of something here, possibly. Are there scratches on the Pokeball too? I don't think... I think you're talking about these, possibly. Is that what you're talking about? Because if so, I don't think those are scratch. That might just be the card stock, to be honest. Caitlin and Maximilian, thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's just the card stock, Gengar. But so yeah. So let us... I'm actually curious what you guys think from the poll perspective. So let me start that on this Gengar, this Gyarados. I was talking to Gengar. Got me tripped up. All right, so on TikTok, there should be a poll that just popped up as a little clipboard. So if you want to vote in on what you think this Gyarados would get. So here's the front. So what's encircled in green is what I saw. Some scratches here and there. The bottom has white lines. Yeah, I saw that too. So pretty much everything on the bottom here. So if you want to vote on what you think it is, that poll should be active in that little blue clipboard. And yeah. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to catch up with chat real quick. Actual, Armando, and Cooper, thanks so much for the follows, guys. Armando, if you want to, once I'm done with this submission, with this Gyarados rather, I'll walk you through how to do it. Or if there's a mod or someone that wants to explain it real quick, I'd appreciate it too. I'm just catching up with chat. I'm gonna make sure the card has no fingerprints before sending it in. I would say if you just have like a microfiber cloth, like you'd use to like clean your glasses or something like that, that's probably the easiest way, to be honest. Or if you just have like a magnifying glass or something like that, you can kind of just give like a once over. That's normally what I do. I don't need to. I don't like take it too serious, but can it be multiple submissions or just one at a time? Are you talking about for grade review, Donnie? If you're talking about grade review, you can submit as many as you want. It's completely free, but it is first come, first serve, and then I only review 5 submissions per person per week. So you could submit 20 if you wanted to, but it would take a month. Like if assuming every Wednesday there's 4 months or 4 Wednesdays in a month, so I'd be able to to explain. I would be able to review 20 in a month. Oh, nice. And if you, but it is first come first serve. So, but if you want your review expedited, the Discord does offer in the server shop subscription tiers that you can subscribe to that will automatically join you to the subscriber grade review section too, if that interests you. But again, it's completely free if you don't care about the time. And thank you for the follow, Donnie. I appreciate that. All right, so we'll end it there. So a majority of you guys are thinking 7 to 6. So chat 7 to 6. So let's take that. All right. So what do I think this first edition Shadowless Gyarados would get? So the centering was good. Corners were good. It was really just a lot of like surface abrasions on the front. So we had some dirt marks on the left. We had some dings on the, like, kind of near the attack points near Dragon Rage. Some corner dings, some scratches, just like modern wear and tear. Definitely played. We do have a lot of whitening on like all the corners and like all the edges, to be honest. Especially on the back. So I think for me, guys, to be honest, I probably would give this a 5. Pretty quickly, just because of the amount of whitening on the back and the amount of surface wear on the front of the card. Because I think I've said it a few times in past streams, but I think a hidden 5th category when it comes to grading is eye appeal. And so if there are pretty obvious signs of wear and tear on the front of the card, then your eye is immediately going to get drawn to that damage. So as a result, you know, the grade is going to go down because of it, which is kind of like have more impact on the surface than anything. But I'd probably say a 5 would be my guess. I have a video on submitting to PSA. I believe I do somewhere. It might be buried in my YouTube. I think I have it in a channel, or not channel, in a playlist, I'm pretty sure. If you can't find it, just let me know. But I think I made one at least like a year and a half ago. But there are so many that, like, there's so many PSA submission videos out there that are pretty modern. But if you have any issues, you know, more than welcome to ask some questions in our general chat in Discord, and we'll help you out. It's not that big of a deal. Jose and Tony, thanks so much for the follow. And so, yeah, going back to, if you guys are curious how to submit your cards for grade review, let me just shift it over to the right scene. So the easiest way is if you guys are on Twitch, or on TikTok rather. If you go to my website, galaxiagamingtcg.com on mobile, if you hit the lines in the top left, if you give that a tap, in the social section, you should see the Discord icon. So you tap that, and it should redirect you to the Discord over here. And as we kind of go through, here's some of the channels. So once you verify yourself, you get access to the grade review channel if for non-subs. So you kind of see some people have already submitted already. But as long as you submit your pictures in here, both the front and the back, as well as following the rules and the pin messages, you just get added to the queue. And again, it's completely free. I'll let you know, you know, a few hours before stream if you want to attend and want to watch your card get reviewed live. You don't have to be present, but sometimes if we see stuff that we can't really, you know, determine if it's a scratch or whatever, it's nice to have you guys in chat to be able to verify a few things. But it's totally optional. The VOD gets uploaded after it's done. But it is first come first serve. If you want it expedited, there is the server shop option. You just go up here and you can subscribe to one of these tiers, and they'll get you expedited grading review. In the like cadet grade review, for example, here's some cards from some subscribers that we've done in the past. That gives you some expedited services. But again, it's completely free if you don't mind waiting. All right, so the Gyarados is done. Next up, we have the Mewtwo first edition. So let us review that. And again, before I start the Mewtwo, if you guys want a different experience too, I also am streaming over on YouTube. The same name, Galaxia Gaming TCG. Has a little bit different layout if you don't want me to hijack your phone. You also have that option too. So let's take a look. So the centering of this card is actually really clean. The only things that I'm really noticing is a lot of these scratches for sure. So like all right here, those are pretty deep scratches. We have some right here by the tail. Let's see. Anything major? We do have some silvering here, where I'm kind of highlighting on that edge. So some silvering there. But aside from that, I'm not... Maybe some, like... I have to really squint. It looks like some dirt marks here. And some in that top right-hand corner, too. Rory, thanks so much for the follow. And then if we flip it over... Yeah, we have some... yeah, you're about to hear the spiel here, CJ. So we have some whitening and some pretty nasty bends up there on the top center. Looks like we have some possibly here, the bottom left-hand corner, center edge, that bottom right corner, scratch there, possibly some here, but that just might be lighting. I'm not too sure. Maybe something here. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. But I mean, for first edition Shadowless, I mean, you gotta kind of make some assumptions here that this stuff is gonna be loved for sure. So let me start up a new poll for you guys. Oh, thank you, Donnie, for those roses. I appreciate that. And it's a first gift. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I'm new, just wanted to say hi. Well, welcome, Jay. Thank you so much for stopping in. Appreciate it. But yeah, Donnie, thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that. Serge, on the back. Yeah, there's definitely some on the back. Serge, I wonder what scratch you're seeing out of the... You're probably this one, maybe? That one? I'm not too sure. But there's definitely some scratches. But I just want to see if I can get 5+ on my subs. If I do, I'll send in a PSA. I mean, they're first edition at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, first edition Shadowless stuff, I think it's just cool that you even own them, to be honest. Because it's like, it always seemed like first edition Shadowless, just like me as growing up, like whenever I heard Shadowless, I didn't even think they were real, to be honest. Because I got into Pokemon, you know, maybe like a year or two after the first edition Shadowless stuff came out, so I didn't even know they existed. All right, so chat is thinking 5-4. So chat, 5-4. All right, so what am I thinking? So the centering of this card's good, and really the big issues on the front is just the scratches on the hollow. And honestly, CJ, probably some of the things that you can probably deal with some of the circles here on the corner and the edge that I'm kind of highlighting here. You can probably clean those off with, again, the Q-tip distilled water. You've heard it before. But it's really the scratches on the hollow foil that's really kind of setting you back, as well as this potential silvering edge, which seems pretty aggressive, which I kind of highlighted as SIL. But as for the back, I mean, this whole thing is kind of covered, right? We got the top there. We have all these whitened edges. We have a lot going on there. But really the only thing I would say, if there was any creases or anything like that that could kind of bring this down to a 4, I would probably say more of a 4. So as we kind of like... But again, I would probably think, depending on the severity of that, that looks pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. But is it enough to get the 4? Is really kind of what it boils down to. Because I think... I don't know, man. I'm thinking it probably would... So chat was 5-4. And I'm thinking probably 4, man. Because just that top is pretty beat. As well as like all the scratching and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it'd probably get a 4. I mean, I would still submit it. You're probably like on that edge of like a 5 to a 4. So I think that 5-4 range that chat's saying is probably fairly accurate. But that's probably what I would say is probably a 4. But again, since you're so close and you're kind of looking for like 5+ to submit, I mean, I would, if it were me, I would just submit it. If it were me. Hey, Betty, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Chained together. It's still 10 o'clock. I still got a lot of submissions left. The Red Cheeks Pikachu. First edition. So let us take a look. Centering and corners look good. I think it's just because like how yellow it is, it's kind of hard for me to see anything crazy. From what I can tell, the front of this card is actually looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's nothing that's nothing standing out to me. Besides the back. Yeah, that back is in pretty rough shape. You know, I think we're starting to get to like, you know, some chipping even, which is already going to kind of get you down to like a 4 probably. Like, cause like this, for example, that looks like some chipping, like this whole corner, this whole edge. Got like here, 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 all right there, all right there. That, this, that, possibly got some here, some there. This maybe, but I think it's just because of the lighting. There. Yeah, just all, it's pretty much just all on the edge, from what I can tell. Oh, Betty, no worries. I had the internet provider come to fix things, but it's still broken. That is the worst feeling ever. I hate that. Like coming home, you just want to like just chill, and then you got to worry about like tech issues. I absolutely hate that. This is the best looking one. Oh man, being able to draw and point things out. That is nice. I mean, I figured episode 25 got to come up with some new innovations. It's kind of nice. This sat sleeveless for 20 years in a box. Yeah, the Red Cheeks is really nice. I really personally like the Red Cheek variant, as it should have been, as it was intended. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was. But yeah, I would say probably this one. I mean, you're probably honestly because of this right here, this like kind of chunk. I'd probably say you're looking at a 4. Would be my honest opinion. But yeah, thank you so much for that submission, man. The first editions, that's pretty impressive. All right, up next, we have the Lickitung man himself, AJ. Man is obsessed, but for good reason. When you have a favorite Pokemon, you just gotta go all in. And as I'm loading this up, how are you guys enjoying the what's it called? The pen tool. This is the first time I've introduced it. I've done it again. I've done these. This is like the 25th episode. Are you guys liking it? Not liking it? I think it's nice because it kind of helps me articulate what I'm seeing a little bit more. And it kind of helps if you guys are kind of joining in late and doing if you're voting in to kind of see what I've looked at already. Right, it needs to be purple or pink, right? What about if I'm hitting a Gengar, you can't even see it? That's the problem, Betty. It was red, but then I looked at an Electrode, and you couldn't even see where I was circling. But made my submission, awesome. That's great to hear. All right, so up next is AJ. The traffic cone orange. Yeah, I could do that too. All right, let's take a look. This man loves his Lickitungs. So if you guys have ever seen these are some of like the almost original printed cards back 1995. So let's take a look. I think it's the first time we've been looking at what are these, like the card-ass cards, right? Corners look good. Maybe maybe a corner ding, or not corner ding, a edge ding right there. You made it in time, yes. Yes, the Bandai card ass. It does look like we have maybe some stuff there, and this was that ding I was talking about. But aside from that, looks okay. You'll find an interesting brand new Night Wanderer set card. Oh, that's cool. So on the back, yeah, back I don't really even, to be honest, this is the first time I've ever even like reviewed these cards. So the pattern alone is kind of making it difficult to see stuff, but I don't see anything out of the ordinary. So I'd say like with those stains, I think if you can clean those stains off, you're probably looking at like an 8 or a 7 probably. But if you can't, normally like stains, I kind of, if there is a stain, I'm kind of already like setting it to like a 6, because that's obviously not near mint if you see a stain. But if you can clean it, you're probably looking at like a 7, maybe an 8, because I can't really tell on the back, but it looks good. But I think if those are stains, then we have to consider that too. And then we have, because these ones came in like blue and green. I can't remember which one was printed first. I don't know if it was blue or green. Someone in chat might know. But this one is the blue backed variant of this Lickitung. So let's take a look. So we obviously see some. So this one's a little bit more beat up or loved, if you will, than the previous one. So we have that little corner fold. That's actually a fold on that left side. We also have some edge wear right there on that top edge. Centering looks decent. I don't see anything else. And kind of flipping it over, this is that fold that we saw on the front side. See something. Can I not? There we go. So we do see something there. See something there. That's about it, though, from what I can tell. IDK, man, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'd say with the fold, you're already looking at like a 5 with bends and stuff like that. Like 5s, you're already kind of looking at. And I'd probably say with like the amount of there, you're probably looking between like a 5 and a 4 would be my guess. You could probably even clean like the 2 circles that I have on the back. Let me make sure you guys can actually see it still. Yeah, you can. Okay. So based off what I'm kind of seeing here, those can probably get cleaned off, the 2 circles in the top and the middle. But yeah, it pretty much looks like an optical illusion, right, John? But I'd say with the bend on the front and like this like kind of fold on the top, you're probably looking at a 4 would be my guess. And look at that, another Lickitung. Weird. I mean, I don't even know how you'd measure the centering on the front. There is no border. 1.2 meters tall. We got the green version and the red version with some goofy looking stats. We got what appears to be something there. But I guess the card looks good. I don't see anything wrong with it. Because I think this is just like text from the card that just gets cut off just by design. I don't think that's edgeware. But let's see. First letter, last letter distance from edge, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But aside from that, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, I think. Because I don't know how you'd measure the centering on the front. Or on the back. I mean, this card looks good. If you can get rid of that, whatever I circled up there on the top. But I think this one might be pretty good to submit. If that's all I can see. I mean, that might be a good 10 contender. I don't know. I just don't know about the centering. This one... Yeah, that looks... This looks like something. Here, maybe too. See, this one actually has stuff to actually look at, hopefully. And then maybe here are some, like, corner issues. But, and then maybe there? Question mark? I'm not too sure. And then, is that maybe another one there? Like right here? Like that little dot there? And then, let's see. Is that something? So this looks like little specks on the back. And some on the front. But I think, again, I think those can probably just get wiped off. So I think if you just wipe off those first two, I think you should submit them, if it were me. Because they look to be in pretty good shape. Just with the exclusion of those, like, pieces of, like, dirt or whatever. But the first two, probably not so much, but the last two from this monster collection, whatever these are, I probably would, if it were me. If you can clean those blemishes off. That's really the only thing. But yeah, thank you again, as always, AJ, the king of Lickitung, for your submission. And then last but certainly not least is Lux. So let's take a look. Boom and boom. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Again, definitely let us know for sure. I'd be super curious. Super curious on what you get. All right. And again, if you guys want a little bit different experience and not want me to hog your phone, because we also have some other stuff that we're showing off on the YouTube that I'm also streaming on too. So I'm streaming on TikTok and YouTube. The name on both is the same, Galaxia Gaming TCG. And if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards for grade review, if you go to my website, galaxiagamingtcg.com, and in the social section, go to the Discord, just go through that, join, and then there's a channel called Grade Review. Just submit your cards for there. It's totally free, unless you want your cards expedited, where there is server subscriptions you can pay for there as well. So let us look. I already know Giovanni's corner is messed up a bit. And yes, it is. Are these yours, Lewis? Is this your submission? Because everyone's name is different from TikTok and... Okay. All right, so yeah, we're basically seeing if this is going to get 10s or not for the most part. So yeah, I don't think this would get the 10 only because, again, I know you mentioned it, but I think it's worth just kind of noting for stream specifically. Again, pack fresh cards do not equal PSA 10. We do have some whitening there and have some whitening there. So yes, clear that. So next up we have the Origin Form Dialga. Centering looks good. And I'd probably measure this in person. But it possibly looks like the bottom looks to be thicker than the top, but it might just be an illusion. I'm not too sure. And if we go here, we do, I think, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get the 10 because it looks like we have a whitened spot there and possibly one there. So it's centered well, but I just think those two probably won't cut it, unfortunately. Clear that, yes. Let's see. So the Zard looks to be centered well, which is good. All right, here we go. So I think this one's probably your best shot so far. This Zard. You and Keith yelling at me, Matt? Calm yourselves. Yeah, I mean, the corners look good. Centering looks good. I think this one might be a good 10 contender for sure. And centering is good here. Corners are good. Yeah, I honestly think the Ride and the Zard, I think those are probably your best bets as like 10 contenders, or probably those last two. I think are probably your best bets. The first two, not so much. The last two, probably, for sure. But so yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Sometimes the Japanese ones are just better. But so yeah, so that was great of you guys. Never expect anything less. I know it's tough. It's tough. But yeah. So again, if you guys are interested in having your cards get reviewed, again, if you've already joined the Discord, just make sure your cards are submitted in the grade review channel. It is completely free. It is first come, first serve. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, as always, this was super fun. I always love these. I am going to probably stick around on the YouTube channel for a little bit longer. I'm going to be wrapping up over on TikTok. If you guys want to hang out a little bit longer over on YouTube, the name is still the same. You can also see my channel link in the bio if you go to my website. So I'm going to be streaming over there for a little bit longer while I wrap it up. So I'm going to be wrapping it up on TikTok. But again, I appreciate all the love and support, all the follows, shares, gifts, all that stuff. It really does mean the world to me that you guys support this style of content. I love doing it. It's something I look forward to every week. And this is the 25th time I've been doing it, 25 in a row. So thank you guys so much. And on TikTok, I'll see you guys next week, but I'm going to continue on streaming over on YouTube for a little bit longer. So if you want to check out that, the name is still the same. So appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. All right, chat. Now it's the YouTube folks. Now it's the YouTubes. What's going on, chat? That was a good one. That was a really fun one. We had a lot of really cool submissions for that one. Especially the like the first edition stuff was really cool. Always liked seeing that, because again, I like when I was a kid, I never grew up with that stuff, so it's always really nice to see. But I guess as I'm chatting, I'll just kind of comb through, let's comb through Poke Beach, see if there's any juicy deets. Japanese Pokemon Center TCG accessories. More arts. That's nothing special. Let's see. Man, I just got slammed with ads. Ooh. Some teased art. Very low res. I can't even see that. Succeed. I don't play the TCG. I'm just a collector. Including illustration rares. Well, I gotta look now. Oh, we've seen these already. The Dust Skull, Dusclops. What's this one? I don't even know what that is. Cass. That actually looks pretty sick. Huh. Are we caught up? Ooh. These look cool. The sleeves look dope. Over Pikachu, Charizard, couldn't care less. Steel types. Your 30-minute session, huh? That's how you're gonna coax me into it. I guess it is July 10th, and I can't remember if I did anything July 1st. So, all right, chat. I'm probably gonna wrap it up on the tubes. I'm getting summoned to play Chain Together. So, we'll see how it goes. It's probably just you guys anyway. So, yeah. All right. Well, on the YouTube side, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate the all love and support. It really does mean a lot. And for the VOD viewers, definitely feel free to check out future updates. I try to make sure that I schedule it so you can kind of see this stuff live. So if you can see it live, if you just watch the VODs, I'd appreciate it. I'd love to see you come around, get a chance to talk to you guys. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye, chat.